We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what we're going to talk about today. This is going to be fun. Might get a little bit of hate from this one, but we'll be right back. Stay tuned. All right, so I was having a little discussion with somebody on some of my comment feeds, and we were talking about it was the economy, and it was from a socialist from not even in America, but they were talking about like they don't believe in billionaires. Billionaires shouldn't exist, and I was like, yeah, but they earn their money and they give us a lot of jobs and things like that, and they were like, well, the government needs to control it all because then it can all be equal. Then there's no one better. And I mentioned something like well, why should I work hard. I work my butt off every single day. Why should I be equal to the one that can work but chooses not to? Why should they make the same amount as me off of my hard work? That's not fair. And then they threw this line at me about we hold these truths to be true, to be self-evident that all men are created equal. They tried throwing that at me, and we were talking about unconstitutional and stuff like that. But I mean, technically, that's not in the Constitution. That's in the Declaration of Independence. They don't when you're sworn in, you don't say do you swear to uphold the Declaration of Independence? It says, do you swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States? So there's a difference there. But at that same note, yeah, everybody is created equally. But we're also given free agency from our Creator and from our Constitution and our Declaration of Independence. We're kind of free. We have freedom. We have freedom to choose. We have freedom to kind of do what we want. And you can choose some of your choices kind of take away those rights, and whether you like it or not, whether it's it's not a guarantee. Just like a lot of these people, these 2A people have been like, well, that's an old document. They need to they need to rewrite the Constitution. Maybe not. I don't, especially like the Second Amendment. Oh, they weren't talking about AR-15s. They were talking about muskets and muzzle loaders and, whatever. But that's because a lot of these guns didn't exist. And that was the weapon of their time. That was a weapon of war at their time, was a musket. So it's like, so I mean, there's some gray area in there. Yeah, it shall not be infringed, but on that same note, there's people that are some things that are just some type of gun laws that aren't really technically infringements. But that's not what I'm getting into here. I'm getting into like the freedom of the people of being created equal. Yeah, we're equal based on, race, color, creed, religion, and all that. Yeah, we're equal. But when it comes to like the economy and making money and whatnot, why should me, the hard worker, be on the same level financially as the person that can work but refuses to work? Or why should the billionaire, the one that earned it, the one that's there, the one that's creating these jobs, why should he be on the same level financially as the person that can work but refuses to work? And they're like, it doesn't matter. That's what it says in the thing. And that's when they threw that thing at me. And then I was like, okay, so if all men are created equal, what about the murderers, the rapists, the traffickers, the kidnappers? Are they still automatically given those same rights? Should they have And he says they should be allowed the same rights as me. They should be allowed the same rights as me. I should be allowed the same rights as them. Okay, so should the murderer and the rapist and the trafficker and or the whatever, should they have the right to vote? Answer this in the comments. Answer these in the comments for me, because I'd like to know, because I know we all have different opinions on this. Should they be allowed to vote? That one's not as big a deal to me, if that, but should they be allowed to own and carry guns legally? Like you and I do. Should they have the right to just walk freely amongst us without us knowing that they're there and without us knowing anything about them? And should they have that right? I mean, just because we're all created equally doesn't mean we remain equal. We make choices. We're all created equally. And if you're into this sort of, religion about the endowed by the creator, because a lot of you aren't. A lot of you want to get rid of that kind of stuff in everything. You want to get rid of Christianity. You want to, but when it says we are endowed by our creator and we're created equally, yeah, he also gave us free agency. That doesn't mean we're all just come down here, get our bodies, if you will, if that's what you believe, and automatically go back up to heaven when we die. No, we're judged upon our choices, and we lose rights based on the choices we make. We don't all have those. We all have some inalienable rights, such as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But what if we choose something else? We're given those rights, but we don't necessarily get to keep those rights. And again, that's not part of the Constitution. That's part of the Declaration of Independence, which I also believe in. But there is some area there that, based on our choices, we don't get to keep those rights. We're still created equal. I mean, based on race, creed, color, religion, economic status, we're all equal. But should we, what's considered equal technically? And like I said, there's going to be people on both sides of this. Like if you really think that the playing field should be completely level, then why should we even bother locking up the murderers? Why should we take their guns away? Why should we if that's the level you want to be on, why should we do that? Why should we just whatever? They have the right. I have the right. They should have the right. I have the right to own guns. They should have the right to own guns. I have the right to walk down the street amongst a crowd of people and nobody has to know who I am. Well, they should have that same right. Whatever, if they're a kidnapper. Well, they have the right. No, that doesn't make any sense at all. It's also liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Pursuit of happiness is not, being able to walk down the street knowing that those people are handled accordingly, knowing that there's not a rapist sitting next to me on the bus or whatever. And we also have the right to protect ourselves. We also have the right to, we have those rights, but why should, it's not equal. It's not a given equality to that. I mean, amongst all of us law-abiding citizens that, yeah, they're equals. But on a financial basis, I guess that's how socialism works. But we're not a socialist country. We're a capitalist country. You have the right to go out there and earn yourself a living. You have the right to go out there and make yourself money. And you have the right to sit at home on your lazy butt. But why should you that choose to sit on your lazy butt be on a financially equal level as the one that does want to go out and make good of himself? That's not right. That's not fair because of somebody's choice to sit on their lazy butt and live off the system. Because with that kind of attitude, maybe we should all just sit at home and live off the system. Then guess what happens? No tax money comes in because nobody's making any money to pay taxes with. Nobody's buying anything to pay sales taxes with. Nobody's. So there you go. What if we all had that same attitude? I'm just going to sit here on my lazy butt and do nothing, live off the system. And then the next guy does it, and then the next guy does it, and the next guy does it. Where's the government going to get their tax money from? Where's the government going to get their revenue from? Just print off more money? How's that work out? How's that work for some of these countries? Just print more. That's what happened to Joe Biden's inflation. They just kept printing money. Or part of it. But yeah, they just kept printing more money, and inflation rose because more cash than backup reserve. The more money you just print with nothing to back it up with, the less it's worth. That's part of it. That's part of the inflation. But I just wanted to jump on real quick and talk about that. Yeah, we're created equal, but that doesn't necessarily mean we it's a given that we remain equal on all levels. We're equal based on our choices, not it's not based on our skin color. We are equal. Like I said, we are equal based on our skin color and our ethnicity and our religion and our whatever. We're that on that playing field we're level. We're equal. But based on our choices, we're not equal. We shouldn't be equal financially because of choices. We shouldn't be granted certain rights, even according to our Constitution. We shouldn't all be given the same rights based on some choices that we make. Plain and simple. And there's certain things that I agree with, and there's certain things that I don't agree with. Even on the gun front. You can call me anti 2A, you can call me a whatever, but I obviously believe in guns. I got a gun safe right there with guns in it. I've got, I'm a 2A advocate, but here comes my but. So this is where you're going to call me anti 2A and stuff like that. But some of these laws about like duty to retreat, I think that's fair. I mean, it is, we should do that anyway. We should try to retreat first anyway. We should try to get it out of the situation before we have to resort to it. The shooting somebody because you carry a gun, that should be the last resort. You should try and get away. You should try and de-escalate, try and escape, try and whatever. And then if you absolutely can, then you go for it. Some people say anything that involves gun restrictions or that's not really a gun. I mean, it's a gun use restriction, but I mean, the AR-15 bans, these assault weapon bans, those are 100% infringements, and I'll fight tooth and nail on those ones. But also, I don't think, and this is just me, and call me whatever you want. I don't care. I don't care what you think about me, and you shouldn't care what I think about you either. But I feel like, you can be 18 to buy a rifle or shotgun, but you have to be 21 to buy a pistol or handgun. Well, guess what? I think you should be 21 to buy any gun. That's just me. You have to be 21 to buy beer. You have to be 21 to buy, to go to gamble, to go to the bar, to go to the casinos. You have to and I think you should have to be 21 in order to vote. That's just me. It is what it is. That's just my opinion. Call me whatever you want. Call me. But at 18, I don't think they're fully aware of what's actually going on in the world at that time. And it's like they really don't have anything to lose by voting. They don't have anything. They don't really have any stake in the game yet. That's why it's like 21 or after you not necessarily after you graduate college, because college nowadays is a joke. But 21, because then you've lived in it a little bit. You kind of see it. You kind of get a feel for it. You've kind of done your own research. Because at 18, you're not fully, you don't have any, you don't have any skin in the game yet, and that's why I think 21. Just like 18 for a gun. You know, you can buy an AR-15 at 18, but you can't buy a pistol at 18. You can buy a shotgun at, you know, I I just think they should raise the age of 21 for voting. They should raise the age of 21 to 21 for buying any kind of pistol. You can't have a concealed carry with a, but I guess that's because you can't own a pistol until you're 21. But just saying, I think they should raise it to 21 just because your brain's still developing and you're still not fully mentally in adulthood yet. You still make childish decisions, if you will, at 18. You're not fully developed into the adulthood world yet, and that's why I think that. But again, call me whatever you want for that. You know, but anyway, starting to ramble. We're not all equal. I mean, we're all equal, but we're not. Based on our choices, we can lose that equality. We can lose those rights because of some of our choices. It's not a dead given guaranteed across the board. And that's not in our Constitution, that's in our Declaration of Independence, which is a totally different document altogether. But anyway, be sure you have situational awareness. The country's getting crazy and a lot of craziness going on out there. Always stay protected. Carry a gun, or at least the most lethal thing, the most effective tool you can legally carry. Carry it. Have situational awareness. Like I said, the country's getting crazy. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Love you. Do the YouTube stuff. Links down below. And we'll see you in the next one.